The Chicago Bears bounce back after that tough Monday night setback in Denver. Neil Anderson scoots 16 yards, and the Bears get a little breathing room. But they lose quarterback Jim McMahon because of what has been described as a mild concussion. Then Tomczak is lost for a play, but he seems to be all right. Nerve cross, you've been watching Mike Ditka's defense. You've got to be impressed by the way they're handling the passes.
Well, they're taking the ball away with first of all. And also, they're putting pressure on the quarterback. They got the first sack in the first half, first time in 3 games.
All right, the Bears should run their record now to 8-2, holding on. Atlanta, Minnesota, the Vikes are giving chase. It is 10-7 right now. Atlanta has played a pretty good first half. Tommy Kramer has injured his passing hand. We don't know if a bone is broken, but he's out for the day. Wade Wilson stepped in, and this pass to Anthony Carter of 49 yards set up a Viking touchdown. But the Falcons responded with a touchdown of their own.
The Falcons knew that the Vikings played a wide charge inside the 5-yard line. Defensive tackles go outside, call the quarterback draw. Easy, 7-yard touchdown.
But then with time running out, Nelson kicked a 52-yard field goal, and the Vikes lead the Falcons 10-7. Green Bay and Kansas City, this has been a sloppy game so far. Packers with the lead. Kansas City coach Frank Gann celebrating his 49th birthday, an unhappy celebration so far. Paul Carruth scoring on the draw play, and the Packers have a 7-0 lead in that game so far. The big game in the AFC Central. It is all Cleveland. And those who said that Houston climbed into a tie because of a weak schedule may be right. The Brown defense was holding the Oilers to less than 50 yards of total offense midway through the second quarter. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and for the Steelers, Rod Woodson, the former Purdue star, has intercepted a pass and scored his first NFL touchdown. San Francisco and Tampa Bay, the prettiest pass-and-catch combination in the NFL, Montana to Rice, has struck for 2 touchdowns, a total of 10 on the year. That was the first one, 21 yards. They came back with a 42-yarder. It is 17-10 over the very tough Buccaneers. Now, Buffalo and the Jets, they have exchanged touchdown passes, Kelly and O'Brien, and they are deadlocked at 7. Indianapolis and New England, and the Patriots are shutting out the Colts and Eric Dickerson in the third quarter of that game. St. Louis and Philadelphia. This score has to surprise everybody, and also the way they are manhandling Buddy Ryan's defense. Folks, Neil Lomax has thrown 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to J.T. Smith, who turns around and simply outruns the secondary. They've even hit the draw play here to Farrell.
Boy, I tell you, Farrell does a good job. The Cardinals have an explosive offensive football team. I think the Eagles simply underestimated them. They left their game on the field last week, I think, against the Giants.
I think so. The Giants took a physical toll on them. And we'll continue with the NFL today on CBS right after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to New York. Ever since William Perry burst onto the scene a couple years ago, we have rekindled our fascination with the role of the big man in pro football. Now, the Fridge wasn't the first oversized player. And as Irv Cross takes us now for a nostalgic look at an earlier era in the NFL when it was widely believed that a waist is a terrible thing to mind.
The 1950s and 60s were the years when NFL football came of age. It was a different game in those days, but even then, there were certain big men who stood out from the crowd.
A lot of the guys I play with, they call me Fatso.
They referred to me as the Geek.
These giants of the game made an impact. Bob Brown dominated as offensive tackle. Art Donovan was the first Colt to make the Hall of Fame. At 6'9", Bob St. Clair was the tallest player in the league, but at 6'8", All-Pro Doug Atkins was no slouch. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, big men have always dominated the National Football League. At a time when all the games were played outdoors and all the grass was real, the big men were truly special.
I think in 13 years I played, I think maybe I did 20 push-ups at the most. And we one time said, "You're not working out like you should." I said, "I'm in shape." I said, "What do you want, a gymnast? Do you want a football player?" He said, "Forget about it."
Donovan was big, but it was Bob Brown who raised the role of offensive lineman to new levels of greatness.
I think that I was reasonably mobile. I like to think that I was exceptionally quick. And maybe other coaches saw that you could find a big man who could move and get the job done.
If you do have long legs and can jump, it's kind of an advantage. These blockers used to cut you down. You just kind of jump a little and spread your legs. So that helped me a lot.
This former high jumper still holds the distinction of being the biggest man in the Hall of Fame. The Giants of that generation did not have the advantage of the strength programs that are now in vogue. But what's so impressive is that they would still tower over today's players. Yet size alone is not enough.
There were other big men in the league. They weighed a lot more, but they weren't as tall as I was. So I seem to have a pretty good advantage.
So without the benefit of today's nutrition and weight programs, these men had to rely on their natural skills and desire.
Yeah, you gotta be big, you gotta be strong. But what counts more than anything else is your quickness and your sense of playing the game of football.
You know, the most amazing thing about that piece, though, is that the players in the 50s and 60s, on average, are about the same size as players today.
Well, let me tell you a little story about Doug Atkins. Back in 1963, he had an agreement with the old man, Papa Bear George Halas, didn't have to practice because he had a bad knee. The Bears are getting ready for the biggest game of the year against the Green Bay Packers. We're down watching practice here at gunfire in Wrigley Field. We look up, and there's Doug Atkins with a .22 hunting pigeons. He was some character. Now let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
We're back at Soldier Field in Chicago. Dick Stockton and along with Terry Bradshaw. The sun has disappeared. It's overcast right now, but the Bears are comfortably in front of the Detroit Lions by a score of 27-10. The CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.